Welcome to Calling All Kids. I am your storyteller, Jennifer Temple. Friends, I'm so happy you're here today to enjoy some stories that we have. They're stories that have to do with special days in February. February is the shortest month of the year, yet it has so many holidays. It has Groundhog Day, Valentine's Day, there's President's Day. It's also known as Black History Month. And it's also known as Dental Month, where the dentist wants us to make sure that we're taking good care of our teeth. So we're going to read a couple of stories that go along with some special days in February. Our first story is going to be about Groundhog Day. Now, do you know about Groundhog Day? It happens on February 2nd every year, and that's the halfway point of winter. And the groundhog, supposedly, legend has it that the groundhog in Punxsutawney, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, comes out and comes to look to see if he sees a shadow. And if he does, that means we have 6 more weeks of winter. If he doesn't see a shadow, it means an early spring. And we've had so much snow that I bet we're all hoping for an early spring. So let's see what happens in our story today. Punxsutawney Phyllis is the name of the story, and it's written by Susanna Leonard Hill, and it's illustrated by Jeffrey Ebler. Now, the illustrator is the one who does the pictures. The author writes the words. So let's find out about Punxsutawney Phyllis. There we go. Let's see if they have an early spring. Or let's take a peek. Phyllis was not like the other groundhogs. She liked to get up in February instead of in March. She liked to be outdoors instead of indoors. This kind of looks like Ashland, doesn't it, with all the snow? When spring rains soaked the earth and everyone else huddled in the burrow, Phyllis splashed in puddles. "You're sopping wet," her mother scolded. "I like the way the mud feels between my toes," Phyllis explained. Her mother shook her head and said to Phyllis's father, "That's Phyllis." When the stream water rushed icy cold and fierce between the banks, Phyllis went wading. "You'll catch a cold," Auntie Patsy warned. Phyllis's mother just shook her head. "That's Phyllis." When the August sun beat down, turning the meadow brown, Phyllis picked blackberries, warm and sweet. "You'll bake in the heat," Aunt Sassy cried. And guess what Phyllis's mother said? "That's Phyllis." "When I grow up," Phyllis said, "I'm going to be Punxsutawney Phil." "Don't be silly, dear," her mother said. "Punxsutawney Phil is a fellow." The other grown-ups laughed, but Phyllis knew she could do it, even if no one took her seriously. And then, one February morning, Phyllis woke up early. She crawled out of bed and crept up the tunnel. The first light of morning shone at the mouth of the groundhog hole. From the big pine trees came the steady drip, drip, drip of snow melting. Running water whispered in the brook. The air was sharp, but something about it had changed. Spring was coming early. Phyllis just knew it. It was going to be an early spring. Let's see if she's right. She skipped back down the tunnel to wait for Uncle Phil to wake up and make his prediction. Now, prediction means a good guess about if it's going to be an early spring or longer winter. "Phyllis, would you quit wiggling?" complained Phil Jr. "Yeah, Phyllis," said Pete. "Some of us are trying to sleep." "How can you sleep when spring is in the air?" asked Phyllis. Phil Jr. looked at Pete. "Only Phyllis would think spring was coming in the middle of winter," he said. "It's not the middle of winter," Phyllis said. "It's Groundhog Day." But Phil Jr. and Pete were already dozing off. Pretty soon, Aunt Sassy got up and tried to wake up Uncle Phil. She shook him and tucked his whiskers. She shouted in his ear. Everyone else in the burrow woke up, but Uncle Phil kept right on snoring. "What's all the ruckus?" asked old Grandfather Groundhog. "It's Groundhog's Day," said Aunt Sassy, "and Phil's still asleep. I'm afraid he's getting too old for this job." "I'll do it," Phyllis asked eagerly. Everyone laughed. "Puxatawny Phil has never been a girl," said Pete. "And never will be," Phil Jr. taunted. They wanted to always be a boy. Do you think a girl could do it? I think a girl could do it just as well as a boy. "Nobody's going to get the job until Phil gives it up," said Aunt Sassy. "Now, how are we going to wake him up?" "Dump snow on him," Phyllis suggested. "Good idea," said Aunt Sassy. And it worked. Here he is. Finally got him up. So we can go make his prediction. Uncle Phil grumbled. "It's time to get up," Aunt Sassy said. "It's Groundhog Day." "I'm sleepy," complained Uncle Phil. "If you're too tired," said Phyllis, "I'd be happy to do the job for you." "Umph," replied Uncle Phil. "Not just anyone can be Puxatawny Phil." "I'm not just anyone," said Phyllis. "Is your name Phil?" asked Uncle Phil. "No," Phyllis admitted, "but Puxatawny Phil's real name isn't always Phil." And here is a library of all the pictures of all the different groundhogs that have been Puxatawny Phil. "Yes, well," grumbled Uncle Phil, "but you were born on Groundhog Day." "I was born the day after," Phyllis said. "Not good enough," said Uncle Phil. "Besides, you are a girl. When the time comes, one of those young fellows will fit the ticket." Phil Jr. and Pete smirked. "They can't even feel that spring is in the air," Phyllis said scornfully. "We never have an early spring," said Uncle Phil. "In all my years as being Puxatawny Phil, it's never happened once." "It's going to happen this year," Phyllis said stubbornly. Aunt Patsy chuckled. "That's Phyllis," she said. Phyllis wished people would stop saying that. Okay, look at this. And they always get dressed up on Groundhog Day when they go out to make the prediction. Phyllis, come up with me to see what the world looks like in February," said Uncle Phil. "Then you'll know that I'm right." Phyllis couldn't believe her luck. They walked up the long tunnel and emerged into the light. Uncle Phil sat up on his hind legs and sniffed the air. "Just as I thought," he said. 6 more weeks of winter." Do you think he can tell just by sniffing the air? Let's find out. "Early spring," insisted Phyllis. "Look at all that snow," said Uncle Phil. Feel the cold air." "But the snow is melting," said Phyllis. "The water is running in the brook. It's not frozen." Uncle Phil tilted his head and listened. "So it is," he said softly. "I don't hear as well as I used to." I'm glad Phyllis is there helping him this time. "The chickadees are singing their spring song," said Phyllis. "I've never heard the chickadees on Groundhog Day," said Uncle Phil. "And look, Uncle Phil, no shadow." "My eyes aren't as clear as they used to be," said Uncle Phil. "And don't you smell the sweetness of spring?" asked Phyllis. Uncle Phil sniffed the air. "Just a hint," he muttered. So do you think Phyllis is right or Uncle Phil? "And there's something else," said Phyllis. She had finally figured out what had felt different about the air all morning. "Feel the wind? It's from the west. the spring zephyr. Well, I'll be jiggered, said Uncle Phil. Is she convincing him? It's going to be an early spring. Spring's coming. Phyllis was right, Uncle Phil announced when they returned to the burrow. We are going to have an early spring. It's time for me to retire. But who will be the next Puxatawny Phil? Asked Aunt Patsy. I will, said Phil Jr. No, I will, said Pete. Sorry, boys, said Uncle Phil. You missed the signs, too. You can't mean, blustered Phil Jr. Yes, boys, said Uncle Phil. This time, the best Phil for the job is a Phyllis. But what about the rules, whined Phil Jr. and Pete? If Mother Nature can bend the rules once in a while, said Uncle Phil, we can too. Phyllis heard the water in the brook and the song of the birds. She saw that there was no shadow, and she felt the spring zephyr. That's Phyllis, her mother said proudly. Phyllis grinned and said, Puxatawny Phyllis, that is. And she gets to wear the special hat that they wear when they go out on Groundhog Day. And so Puxatawny Phyllis is predicting it's going to be an early spring. Do you think that's going to be true in Ashland? We'll have to wait and see. I hope you enjoyed that groundhog story. And you can have your parents check on the internet on Groundhog Day on February 2nd, and they will be able to tell you what the groundhog will predict down in Pennsylvania or over in Pennsylvania. Okay. So now we're going to read a story about losing a tooth. I lost my tooth in Africa. Oh, I wonder if it's different about losing a tooth in Africa than it would be in Ashland. What do you think? When you lose a tooth, what do you do with it? Do you take the tooth and put it under your pillow and then the tooth fairy comes? And usually we do that at night, don't we? Do we do that and then we go to sleep and then it happens during the night so we don't see the tooth fairy? Well, let's see what happens when you lose a tooth in Africa. And this is written by Penda Diakite and it's illustrated by Baba Wag Diakite. So let's find out what happens when you lose a tooth in Africa. And this is actually based on a true story. It's about the author's sister when she really lost a tooth in Africa. Here we go. Hi, my name is Amina. I live in Portland, Oregon. Today we are flying to Africa to visit my father's family in Bamako, Mali. Africa is very far away from our home in Portland. It takes 2 days, 3 planes, and 3 different continents to get there. Right before landing in Mali, I discovered something. I discovered I have a wiggly tooth. My dad says if you lose a tooth in Africa and you put it under a gourd is kind of like a kind of pumpkin, so you'll get an idea. You put it under a gourd and you will get a chicken from the African tooth fairy. Can you imagine getting a chicken for your lost tooth? When here in America, we get money or a note. I really want to lose my tooth in Africa, so I tried tricks with my tongue to help it come out faster, but nothing happens. When you have a wiggly tooth, do you wiggle it around with your tongue, trying to make it come out? When we arrive, my aunts and uncles and cousins are here to greet us. They all live together in one compound. That's like one big house they all live with their Enna, my grandma. It's very hot here and the ground is a beautiful sandy orange. Outside our compound, there are donkeys and goats and lots of chickens. The rooster never stops crowing. I wiggle and wiggle my tooth. I can't wait to have my own chicken. Aunt Kaja had made my favorite dinner. It's rice and onion sauce with African eggplants and tiny noodles. We all eat together around one big bowl. And everyone eats with their right hand, no forks or spoons. Sometimes, if you're lucky, you get a piece of meat. When I eat, I can feel my tooth moving, but it refuses to come out. Isn't that interesting how they eat that special meal? By evening, the world begins to quiet down. The family is home and the neighbors come by to greet us. The stars shine brightly and the moon glows like a street lamp. Friends sit in groups in the courtyard playing games, telling stories, and braiding hair. Sometimes Grandma Enna sings songs. As the sky darkens, I climb into my bamboo bed, and after a few stories from my dad, I drift off to sleep. I hope my tooth doesn't fall out at night. Can you see her bed here? They have a special netting over her bed because there's lots of mosquitoes and bugs where she is in Africa, and she doesn't want to get bitten by any of the bugs. So that protects her. With the first golden rays of the sun, the noisy rooster begins to crow. Kitty, kitty, it's time to get up. The first thing we do every morning in Africa is greet Grandma Enna and receive blessings from her. She takes my hand and holds it gently as she begins a long list of benedictions. May you rise high with strength and knowledge. Amina, I reply after each one. After breakfast, I run outside to brush my teeth at the papaya tree. That way I can water the tree as I brush my teeth. Isn't that thoughtful? Suddenly, there's a funny feeling in my mouth. My tongue instantly finds a gap where a tooth used to be. I hope I haven't swallowed it. Where's my tooth? I look down, it's on the ground. I pick it up and run to show my parents. My mom is surprised. My dad helps me place it under a calabash gourd behind the bedroom window. I am so proud I lost my tooth in Africa, a shiny white tooth. Soon I will have a chicken of my very own. So they're placing it under the gourd in the daytime. I wonder when the African tooth fairy comes in Africa. Let's find out. All morning I play a game with my cousins, waiting for a chicken to come, but nothing happens. We eat lunch and take a short nap. Still, no chicken. We take a walk by the little creek to check the gardens. Bananas are turning ripe. We huddle together to watch a busy weaver bird building its hanging nest in a palm tree. When we get home, it's already time to take our bucket baths. The day is almost finished, but no chicken has come. Finally, I'm tired of waiting. I go to take my tooth back. I feel sad. Maybe the African tooth fairy has forgotten. So maybe, do you think she needs to wait and it happens at nighttime? Because she's been waiting all day. I wonder. But right as I turned over the calabash gourd, two chickens pop up. One rooster and one hen. I am so happy. I call to my mom and dad. They are very excited. Dad says the rooster is more black than white. Mom says the hen is more white than black. So it did happen during the daytime. She didn't have to be asleep. Right away, I take care of my chickens. I feed them and give them water. My mom and dad help me build a little house for them under the stairway that leads to Grandma Enna's roof. We make adobe bricks and stack them on top of one another. Then we find an old sheet of tin to use as a roof. It's down here. Early one morning, I open my chicken coop. There I see them, white, oval eggs in the nest on the dirt floor. I shout, Shakili, Shakili, eggs, eggs. Uncle Modibo says that means the chicks will hatch in 21 days. I wonder if I will see them before I leave Africa. Oh, I hope she can. So she must be leaving her chickens there in Africa. She can't take them back to America. When I help Aunt Sally with the meals, the chickens always cluster around my feet. I sneak a handful of millet and rice for them. I like to peel the vegetables because I can feed the peelings to my chickens. When I finish with the vegetables, I smush tomatoes with my hands for a good tasting sauce and cut squash and cabbage into big quarters so Aunt Sally can boil them. See her chickens running around while she's helping cook. Looks like all the kids are helping out. Later that day, my hen has laid more eggs. That makes me smile because I know my chickens are happy in our home. One evening, the hen is squawking. I run outside. The pheasant is trying to steal her eggs. Look at the pheasant here, trying to steal their eggs. That pheasant is very crafty and very fast. I'll have to watch her carefully. When I go to sleep at night, I dream about little chicks hatching. I'm excited to see what they will look like. Finally, one morning, my dad tells me it is our last day in Africa. We have to go back to America. I slowly say goodbye to things I will miss. Conbay, I say to the mango tree. Conbay, I say to the little creek. Conbay, I say to Africa. I just hope my little chicks will hatch before I have to leave tomorrow. When the time comes to leave, I am sad. I say goodbye to my African family and friends. Slowly, I walk to my chicken coop to say goodbye to my chickens. What do you think? Do you think she's going to see? Are the eggs going to be hatched? Or will she just have to hear when they do from her aunt and uncle? Then I see it. An egg is hatching. A tiny little white chick peeks out from a white egg. Shaden, Shaden, I shout. Chickens, chicks, chicks. Everyone comes to see. They all congratulate me. She's taken good care of her chickens, so now the babies are hatching, the chicks. And I'm so happy, aren't you? Aren't you so happy this happened before she had to fly home to America? Just then, another egg hatches. I am very happy, but I'm very sad too. I don't want to leave my chickens behind. Don't worry, Anamina, says Uncle Mado. I'll take good care of them. When you come back, your chicks will be old enough to lay their own eggs for you because they'll be grown-up chickens by then. Will that be something for her to look forward to come back? Yes. I smile so big you can see the empty space where my tooth is missing. And right away, I begin to count the days until we will come back to Africa. So here is a picture. So the author wrote this story about her little sister who is 8 years old when this really happened. So here's a picture of Amina with her baby chicken. So what do you think of that story of when you lose a tooth in Africa and you put it under a gourd and you get a chicken? Do you think that would happen here in Ashland? Do you think if you put it underneath a gourd, your tooth, you might get a chicken? That would be very interesting and exciting news to share with your friends, wouldn't it? I hope you enjoyed this story. I lost my tooth in Africa. And remember, February is Dental Health Month. So the dentists want to make sure that everyone's brushing their teeth twice a day and flossing and trying not to eat too much sugar, right? And then we also have Valentine's Day coming up and President's Day. So I hope you enjoy February, even though it's the shortest month of the year. There's so many things going on. And I forgot, this year in February, the Winter Olympics are going to be taking place in Paris, France. So maybe you want to try and watch some of those exciting sports, such as, they have skating and skiing and bobsledding and all kinds of winter sports taking place. So February is going to be lots of exciting things happening. So I want to thank you all for joining me today on Calling All Kids. I hope you enjoyed our stories this month, and I hope you have a wonderful February, and I'll see you next month. Thank you for watching Calling All Kids. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.